Welcome to the TikTok podcast. The clock is always ticking, so let's synchronize our watches and dive in. I'm your host, Callie Brigham, and I'm here to help you make time for what matters. Well, hey friends, welcome to another episode of TikTok. What an honor, what a privilege that I get to spend a few minutes with you. I'm so excited that I get to do that. And I was thinking that we need to be timely. Of course, this is a time mastery, time management podcast, but we need to be timely because the holiday season, the holidays are breathing down our neck, right? It's days away, it's weeks away, depending on which holiday we're talking about, Thanksgiving, Christmas, you name it. We are getting in the thick of it. And if there is ever a season that can make someone feel all kinds of crazy, all kinds of overwhelm, all kinds of this ugly 5-letter word, is it 5 letters that I'm going to talk about today? It's this season. So actually, when I was thinking about when do I want to launch this podcast, when do I want to dive into this, I thought I cannot think of a better time than to just go ahead and tackle it, go ahead and just take the leap as we get into the holiday season, because I know that brings a whole nother just bag of weights on your shoulder if you're like most people. So what is that 5-letter word? It is guilt. Yeah, that is 5 letters. Guilt. Guilt. Ah, guilt, overwhelm, you name it. I wanted to give you a little background on TikTok as well. I don't know that I mentioned this on my previous episodes, but TikTok actually started on a walk. I know, the TikTok walk. I was just kind of feeling some kind of way as I was facing reentry after a vacation, which I actually, by the way, call the holiday hangover. So, of course, in future episodes, we're going to talk about how to handle the new year as we have the holiday hangover, kind of the letdown that comes from it, getting back to reality, etc. So it started on a walk, and I thought, I wonder if anybody else feels this way. So I started videoing myself, my feet actually, as I was walking. And then as I proposed the question to see if anyone else felt that same way, I later videoed myself, my face, just kind of talking through it, sort of just stream of consciousness. And that's how it started. And as I was continuing that walk, which I now do pretty much every day, and I just sort of process through things, it is actually something on my schedule, is my walk. It's a working walk. I pray on that walk. I listen to podcasts actually on that walk. I work as far as reaching out to my team. I talk to my mom, all the things happen on this walk. I was thinking about this guilt feeling, this guilt weight, and there isn't a season more fraught with that than the holidays. So as I was walking, and maybe it's the endorphins or it's the lack of distractions, I thought, let's discuss it. Let's dive in. Let's talk about it. Let's have a game plan. Let's have some emotional insurance for this season. Because if we continue to carry around this guilt, whether it's even things like oversleeping when you had a busy day, or if you didn't get your workout in and you had too many cookies instead, or if you're feeling like you didn't spend enough time with your kids, or maybe your business is on the back burner. All of those things outside of the holidays are tough enough, but we add in the holidays and we're just basically done for, right? So I also like a good alliteration. I don't know if it's my history in TV news or the seasons that I've been in a Baptist church, a good Baptist preacher or a good youth pastor, they do like some acronyms. So they like a few points in their message, right? So it kind of comes naturally. So I'm on this walk and I'm thinking about the guilt of the holidays. And then I want to give you a gift of a guilt-free holiday time management focus. I don't know if it can be completely guilt-free because we are women and that's a reality. So there's no perfection expected here, but how about we just lessen it? How about we just lessen it? So I thought of 3 things that I wanted to just bat around a little bit, have a conversation about. And I want you to not take them just at surface value because I think especially the first one or two, as I mentioned, it's easy to just dismiss it and say, yeah, 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 I know that. But I really want you to go a little deeper with it and give yourself space to process this. And the first one is gratitude. I know. It's overused. We have Thanksgiving coming up. You're like, I say grace over my food. I thank God for my food. I am grateful. But I really want you to apply this to this holiday season with your time, with maybe what you feel like are expectations put on you. One of the things that I do when it comes to gratitude is I try to say, am I feeling stressed out with bad things or good things? Is my schedule packed crazy with things that are stressful? Because there are seasons when somebody has a health issue or a health challenge. Maybe there's relational challenges. Maybe it's a really tough time at work and you've got all those things on your schedule. That's one thing. But when I'm overwhelmed because I've got Christmas parties at my kids' school or I've got family coming into town, that perspective, I try to change that. And I try to say, you know what? I am thankful. I'm thankful I get to put this on my schedule. I am thankful I have this job or this family or this friend group or these resources. For me, a lot of times too, it's taking a minute and saying, these are the things I prayed for. These are the things I prayed for. I'm going to defer to grateful. Again, a lot of you may know my story. I struggle with miscarriage and infertility, and I have two miracle babies, all kids are miracles. They really are. This is this is what I prayed for. This is what I was in tears for, is to be able to go to a Christmas recital, right? To put that on my schedule, or yet one more Christmas lunch or party or whatever's going on. My daughter wants to throw a big Christmas bash. And instead of feeling like, oh my goodness, now I've got to add grocery shopping for that and party planning and I get to. I had a friend tell me one time that her gratitude looks like this when she's doing laundry and folding laundry. And let me also be clear because we talk about time management a lot. That can be delegated. Okay. So if that doesn't bring you joy, it is absolutely fine to delegate that to somebody else. My kids have actually done their own laundry for a long time. And when they were little bitty, I did have a home office assistant. And one of her jobs was to fold their laundry and put it in their room. And that they had to put it away in the drawers, right? I wanted them to learn some of those skills. But she says that instead of feeling frustrated or all kinds of emotions about this laundry situation, for each sock or pair of pants or shirt, she prays for that person, whoever that is in her family, her kids, her husband. She prays over them. She is a good woman, right? She's a good woman. But that's what I mean about that gratitude this time of year. Let's just set the tone there. All right. Second thing that I thought of on my walk. Yeah, this is all TikTok walk happening, was grace. Giving yourself grace. Oh, all right. That's a hard one too. It's hard to give ourselves grace. There's a lot of Pinterest pressure, right? That happens to us. I think of it like the time I decided to make homemade apple crumb pie. I have a friend and a gal on my team, Maria, and she makes the most amazing apple crumb pie, right? So I had it at her house. I said, give me the recipe. We had lots of family coming in town for Thanksgiving. And I said, I'm going to make homemade apple crumb pie. The whole thing, I'm going to peel the apples. I'm going to make the crust. I'm going to make the crumb topping. And I did. And it took me hours and hours and hours and hours. And it was amazing. And it tasted phenomenally well. But in about 2 minutes, both pies were gone. And I thought to myself, I just spent however many hours making this pie for it to be gone. And people appreciated it, but like not as much as they should have. So, do you know what I did from then on? I decided to have grace on myself that I don't have to home make that apple crumb pie. Although, Maria, you are welcome to mail me pie anytime you want. I now order it from a local place. There's a grandpa of the owner, and he makes these amazing pies. It's the perfect ratio of about half pumpkin pie or lemon pie or chocolate fudge pie and half homemade whipped cream, So I have grace on myself. I do not have to do it all. You can buy the store-bought cookies that then your family decorates. You can buy the pre-lit tree and then you just pull it out of storage and put those ornaments on. One of the ways I look at this too, in the holiday season, you may not be able to do it all. My mom says that when you travel somewhere, travel as if you'll be back. Now, I know we're not promised tomorrow, and I know we're not promised another holiday season next year. That kind of goes back to gratitude, right? But what I am saying is if everything doesn't get done this season, guess what? It can happen next year. And you can choose to have that perspective and say, you know what we didn't do this year was, I don't know, Carol in our neighborhood. You know what I'd like to do? I'd like to put that on my schedule for next year. That's giving yourself grace. And also just be able to kind of just be lighthearted about when things don't go right or you don't get everything in. For years and years and years, my kids got their pictures with Santa at the mall. Okay. It wasn't until, I don't know, towards the very end of our doing that they were like, why is there a different Santa all the time? They had to figure it out. But there was one year I was going out of town and it was like the last weekend that you could get the Santa pictures. So I had all the clothes set out and whatnot. I'm going to throw my husband under the bus. And I'm just going to say that the Santa pictures did not happen that year. And I was not very happy about it. But you know what the funniest thing is that we talk about every year when we pull out all the Santa pictures except for one year? It's the one year. And I give him a hard time and he rolls his eyes. And I'm like, oh, you had one job. You had one job to get the Santa pictures. But it's our favorite memory of the Santa pictures is that we have a year that we didn't have them. All right. So gratitude, grace. And the last one is guardrails. This is probably the most important. I don't know, probably needs another episode. But this is boundaries, boundaries, boundaries with family, boundaries with capacity, boundaries with what you can put on your plate and what you can't. Knowing what's expected of you and what's important. And what I'm going to suggest in this is two things. One is that you take an inventory of all of the things that you think that you want to do over the holidays, right? Again, we've mentioned some of them, watching holiday movies, baking holiday cookies, going to see the Nutcracker, whatever it is that is important or you think it's important to you. So I want you to make a list of those things. Then the next thing I want you to do is say, okay, is this something that I actually want to do? Or is this like a sacred cow, something that's really important that I just don't want to miss? Maybe it's a family tradition that I really want to keep going. Or is it something that was just always tradition? Is it something that I might not actually like the Nutcracker. Now, I do. I'm a musician. I like it's beautiful. But maybe your kids are little and that's just something that they're going to have to sit through for 3 hours and that is not going to be fun. It is okay to substitute something for something else. It's okay to create a new tradition. It's okay to say, that's just not bringing value to me right now. I'm going to choose a different path this year. So that's the first thing that I want you to do. There's a story of tradition. I love this one. I think it's like a girlfriend going to her boyfriend's house for Thanksgiving or Christmas and they're preparing the ham. And so she goes in to help in the kitchen and the mom's in there and the mom cuts off the ends of the ham. And she says, "Why are you cutting off the ends of the ham?" And the mom says, "Well, I don't know. We've just always cut off the ends of the ham. Let me ask grandma." So she, "Grandma, why do we cut off the ends of the ham?" And the grandma says, "I don't know. That's just what we've always done. We just always cut off the ends of the ham." And then the grandma says, "Well, I'll ask my mom." And so the great grandma, "Why do we cut the ends off the ham?" And you know what she said? She said, "Oh, because my pan was too small." Yeah. Why do we do the things we do? Well, maybe because we just always done them. So I want to give you permission this holiday season to say, I may have always done things this way, but I don't have to do them this way anymore. I can create a new tradition this year based on things that I value, things that I do prioritize, and things that I want on my schedule. So the last part of that is to then make sure that your family is on board. Ask your kids, if there's one thing that we did this holiday season, what would you want it to be? Ask your husband, if there was one thing this holiday season, what would you want it to be? You may be surprised. They may tell you something that you thought was not important or things you thought were important to them. They might say, you know what? Nah, I don't really care about that. That big meal that you make, I think it'd be fun to like order pizza and have it on paper plates and sit around and, make s'mores. Who knows? So, all of these things, what I want to do is gift you at the start of this holiday season to just reframe things a little bit. to recalibrate a little bit, to remove some of that guilt, to give you the gift of a guilt-free holiday season, or as close to as possible. So in that respect, we're going to practice gratitude. We're going to have grace on ourselves, and we're going to have guardrails up to protect us, to protect ourselves, to protect our family, to protect our energy and our emotion. So I hope that you are now moving forward with a little bit more confidence, a little bit more joy, a little bit more connection to what is most valuable as you map out and you plan out your holiday season. All right. As always, I look forward to being with you in our next TikTok episode. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being part of my new community here. And thanks for being someone I know that is going to make enough changes that is going to bring value to other women that may be the woman that needs to hear and see what you're all about. God bless you.
Thank you for joining me on the TikTok podcast. Please subscribe, rate, and leave a 5-star review. Your feedback fuels our mission to help you master your time. Set your alarm for our next episode, and until then, make every moment count.